What's good, agents? It's BBKDRAGOON talking about the Incursion and Conflict updates that are coming to the Division in April and May, respectively, and why they are so critical for the future of this game. I'll start off by saying I have about 40 hours into my character on the Division right now. I have loved Endgame. I've really enjoyed it, but I've enjoyed it with the knowledge that we're working and gearing up towards something, and that's the theme I want to discuss here. Briefly, my experience with the Division, since so many of you asked on Twitter, as well as in the YouTube comments, how are you liking the game? Is this something I should buy? Will I like this game? It's a really hard question to answer. I'll give you my perspective. Getting from 1 to 30 took me 23 hours, so like right in and around there. That was a slog. I didn't really enjoy the leveling process. I felt like the missions were kind of repetitive. The combat scenarios felt pretty similar over and over again. And oftentimes they'd have you running 3 levels worth of side missions before you'd get to the next main mission. And those side missions were fine, but they just aren't all that compelling. Now, 23 hours, not that long if you're somebody who plays MMOs, but for a lot of console players, I think you're going to get diverted here. What's the right word? There's plenty of people who are going to buy this game who will probably never make it to level 30, which is way disappointing because once you reach level 30, my entire opinions changed dramatically. I like the end game in the Division right now, but I like it with the knowledge that I'm working towards the Incursion patch that's coming in April. That working through process once you hit the max level is doing your dailies to get Phoenix credits and then going through the Dark Zone with friends. Dark Zone is not really a PvP experience. For those of you guys who played in the beta, the penalties for going rogue in the beta were not very severe. In the Dark Zone now, the penalties are insane. If you go rogue and you get killed, you lose a ton of Dark Zone experience. Now, do you see that level 30 in the upper right-hand corner, the purple one? That is your Dark Zone level. And it takes, I don't know, depending on your route, maybe 4 or 5 hours to get to level 30 in the Dark Zone. If you get killed while rogue, you'll lose like maybe 2 levels of experience from that Dark Zone bar, which could be 45 minutes worth of like work. No, what Dark Zone really is running laps, killing PvE enemies like I'm doing here with my friend Aviators. By the way, shoutouts to this guy Aviators. He's one of the nicest people. He's been super supportive of our Destiny podcast and a great agent to party up with and play in the Dark Zone with. For the most part, Dark Zone is just a PvE Zerg train. You party up with some friends, you run around, you're killing these powerful PvE enemies who can very easily kill you, by the way. When you reach the higher end zones in the Dark Zone, the further north you go, the harder it gets. Level 31, level 32 mobs, it can get hectic very quickly. But there's not a great fear of, oh my gosh, another agent, are they going to kill me? Not like the beta. In general, the consequences for going rogue are so stinking steep, like if you die while rogue, that people just aren't doing it all that often. And that's okay. Like I don't necessarily mind it, but I know Massive is tweaking it. In an upcoming update, they're going to be changing the penalties for going rogue to make it a little less severe, make the Dark Zone a little bit more edgy of an experience. There are griefers in the Dark Zone. Oh my gosh. I had this dude followed me and my crew around for like an hour. And what he specifically would do is anytime you're trying to kill PvE enemies like I'm doing now, he'd run in front of your bullets to try and get you to shoot him accidentally and go rogue. He did this for like an hour. Gets better. When you need to like restock ammo, there's safe rooms that are spread out through the Dark Zone that you enter and restock your ammo with. Well, the griefer will pull out their pistol, shoot one shot into your body, and that doesn't cause them to go rogue, but it puts you in a combat state, meaning you cannot enter safe zones or exit the Dark Zone while in this combat state. It was so frustrating. This one dude just griefed us for like an hour running around. That's the one real frustrating experience that I've had. Also, be careful with your sticky bombs. I accidentally sticky bombed a rogue guy, but the splash damage dealt a little bit of damage to some non-hostile agents around him, and it made me go rogue. They instantly killed me, and I lost 2 levels worth of DZ. It was like an hour worth of DZ level stuff, and I was so salt. I was ready to go, ah! But I've learned since then, I'm not going to be using that sticky bomb around people anymore. So, getting back to what I'm talking about, why the Incursion update actually matters. First of all, in April, the Incursion update releases. It's described as new challenging endgame activity developed specifically for squad play. Teams will be able to test their skills as they face seemingly unstoppable enemies to gain high-level weapons and equipment. This update will also add one of the community's most wanted features, loot trading, allowing players in the same group to trade loot collected during a co-op game session, which is actually really freaking rad that they're allowing that. So the Incursion update is endgame PvE activity. If you want to know what the heck you're doing in the Division, what you're gearing up for, it's the Incursions. That is your either dungeons or raid-like activity that you're doing at endgame. And we don't know what they look like. We don't know anything other than that little line of text. The second update that they're pushing out is the Conflict update, and that is going to include a new Incursion and some new Dark Zone features. We know even less about that, but it sounds like it'll be Dark Zone kind of events. Incursions are do or die. I told you guys I have about 40 hours into the game, and it works perfect for me. I love getting on, running my dailies, and playing about an hour and a half of this game. But if you're somebody who wants to just veg and shove 4 hours straight into the Dark Zone, the endgame rotation right now will get a bit old. You're gearing up not to just get better at the Dark Zone, it's for the Incursions, or so we hope. Because if Incursions fall flat on their face, the long-term success of Division will be very hairy. It will be in a dangerous place. Dark Zone is fun, but Dark Zone is not something that players are going to play for 3 or 4 months. People who are reaching the 80, 90 hour mark, who've gotten their min-max and their builds all the way that they want, at this point, what's the point to gear up more so they can romp stomp the Dark Zone even further? You see what I'm saying? There's a disconnect here. Now, this could either be a very smart decision on Massive's part by delaying the Incursion update so they focused on a smooth launch, and they gave players of varying time abilities the option to level up to max level and get geared before the Incursion comes out. Destiny did a similar thing with Vault of Glass. A lot of, MMO-typey games do this, where they'll delay some endgame content for a little bit to give players a chance to get up to the level that they need to. If that's the case and Incursions come out and they're an awesome endgame activity that keep people engaged, Division is looking like a really fun game to play throughout the rest of this summer until the Destiny expansion this fall. But if Incursions fall flat on their face and it's just like another challenge mission, I'm really worried then about the long-term potential of Division. So I'll end the video by extending the question to you, the viewer. Do you think Incursions will be the endgame activity the Division needs? If you're a player who's doing endgame right now in the Division, what do you think of it? And if you're a player who's on the fence about the Division, or maybe you're in that basket of you haven't reached level 30, let me know why. It's curious to see the different reactions and feedback, because I do not think the Division is a game that fits all players. It's a very specific person that probably gets into this endgame loot shoot thing that is this unique. It's a fusion game. It's weird. It's something that a lot of developers are trying to do, where it's a bit of this, a bit of that, bit of this, bit of that. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed, let me know with a like, and we'll talk with you next time.